Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Angel, aka the Angelic Muse. I'm an intuitive tarot reader as well as a certified Reiki practitioner. And as you can see from the title of the video, I am back with another pick a card for you all. And this one is simply focusing on what is next in love for you. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, whether you are in a relationship, whether you are talking to someone, you're dating, you're single, we're going to see if we can pick it all up here in a general message for each pile. So as you can see, we have 3 selections for you to choose from. So I did things a bit differently, and I used sage, a white candle, and Palo Santo for your pile selections. So starting over here with pile 1, we have this piece or this bundle of sage. I was going to say this piece. This bundle of sage here. Then pile 2, we just simply have a white Tealight candle. And then for pile 3, we have a stick of Palo Santo. So, if you want, you can take a second to pause the video and meditate on whichever pile or whichever object gravitates towards you. The one you and your intuition agree on, whether that is one or all 3, is entirely up to you. However, if you do not gravitate to any of them, then that simply means this reading is not for you. However, I do hope you come back and visit me for another one. So I have pre-pulled all the oracle cards, as you can see, and then I will also be pre-pulling all the tarot. This is the deck that I will be using for our love reading. And yeah, so all of my links will be down below if you would like to book a personal session with me or connect with me outside of this platform. That'll be down below, as well as all of the timestamps. They'll be linked down below as well, so you can just jump ahead and get to your pile quicker. And also all of the decks that I'm using will be listed down below as well if that's something that you're interested in. So without further ado, I am going to get into the first pile, and I will see you guys at your timestamps. Hey pile 1, so if you chose this sage stick bundle or bundle of sage, here is your reading. So I'm going to start out with your tail first, and then we're going to get into your oracle cards after. So, okay, first card we have the 5 of Wands. Second card is the 10 of Cups. Third card is the 3 of Pentacles. Fourth card is the Lovers. Then your last 5th card is the 2 of Pentacles. All right. So, it was crazy because when that 5 of Wands came out first, I was a bit like, oh, okay, what's this going to be like? But it actually finishes out really nicely. So, whether you are currently dealing with something in a relationship, or you are just having like some sort of internal conflict or battles within yourself, just know that it's all going to work itself out in the end, you know, as long as you see it through, you know, don't give up on it. But let me start over here with this 5 of Wands. So 5 of Wands in itself typically leans towards some sort of conflict. So whether you are dealing with something solo, like you going through an internal battle on your own, or you're dealing with conflict with your partner in your relationship, that's just what I see here to start. But it looks like for a majority of you, I mean, what I'm getting, the feeling I'm getting is like you're both fighting for the same thing at the end of the day. Like you may have 2 different ways of going about it, or multiple ways of going about it, but the end goal is to kind of get to the same place. So the misunderstanding or the blurred lines are just maybe due to different upbringings, different ways in which you were raised, different ways you were taught how to respond to things of that nature. That's what I'm getting here. But with the 10 of Cups right next to it, that's what makes me feel like it is kind of the same end goal here. Like you both want the same thing. Like, so if you are fighting to be understood on something, but your partner is too, it's like maybe you both have some sort of wound there where you weren't seen or heard in the past, maybe growing up, and you didn't really quite learn how to manage that in your adult relationships or your adult life. So you're I don't know why the words constantly, the term constantly seeking validation came to my head. So maybe that's something that you deal with often, or maybe your partner deals with often. Either way, that's just one of the many examples that it could be. But Ten of Cups talks about emotional fulfillment. So it's almost like you want that picture perfect relationship, or you kind of aim for that picture perfect relationship, and because it doesn't look that way on paper or outwardly or even feel that way to you, that's where the conflict lies. And I know that what I'll say is this: even the best and healthiest relationships, they still require some form of work. It's just how you go about that work that makes all the difference here. So what I'm feeling like is coming next is some sort of intervention with that. So with this Three of Pentacles, that could be anything from relationship counseling to just seeking wise counsel from someone older than you, someone who's married, someone who is or marriage minded or has the same goals that you want, whether you want to be married or not. It's just someone of that has experience in the matter, or has maybe an unbiased opinion towards the situation. I feel like that is going to be the game changer here for you, because it's going to open your eyes to not only letting people, and I just saw 444 on the clock. So I just want to say this: if you're the type to, because it was coming to me, if you're the type to kind of, you don't really talk to your friends or your family in regards to your situation, you maybe rely on your own intuition, or you just keep things between you and your partner, I will say that is a great thing, because a lot of times, people can have flawed and skewed perspectives on one hand, but then on the other hand, it's like you really don't have that outlet or anyone to go to. So I feel like this is what this is that's coming in, because this is going to be someone who is not only secure enough for you to tell the inner workings of your relationship to, but is someone who is going to help you to be led into the right direction. The choice is essentially up to you, but I do feel like both of you are going to be in on it and be willing to listen to what it is that this person or these people have to say. And you're going to take it all in, and you're actually going to be receptive to it, to the point where it, opens your eyes to, again, a new way of being, a new way of thinking. And just, it's not so much conflict or battle it out. You're going to be in it with your partner as opposed to being against it. I feel like over here, this may be more so you feeling like you have to defend yourself because you're not being understood in some aspect of the relationship, and the same with your partner. But here, this is where you kind of come together and you realize oh, we want the same things. I don't feel like it's really seen here because it's so loud. It's so much going on here. But the end goal is still here. And it's interesting because when I pulled the Lovers, that's the only major arcana card you have. And the Lovers card talks all about following your heart and going with where, just, first of all, it's divinely protected here. You have the angel over the relationship. So this is definitely being protected by God. This is something that has been kind of ordained by him himself. And it'll pull you both together into a new light. You won't have the time to, or not even the time, but the energy to argue, because you'll be so emotionally fulfilled. And so this is deeper than emotions though. You think of following your heart, sometimes you have to kind of ignore that. Sometimes the emotions stem from the ego, and I feel like over here is an operating out of ego, where over here there's a balance, and then you get to the harmony with this Two of Pentacles. It's kind of finding a new way to juggle things. Like you can definitely look out for yourself while still understanding that, okay, I have to consider my partner at the same time at all times if I want this energy to maintain itself. You know what I mean? So I feel like that is definitely what is coming in some way. So but the thing about it is that I feel like before you get to this point within this Three of Pentacles, there's going to be a lot of hard work that needs to be done, whether it be, you know, some sort of acceptance for parts of yourself and parts of your partner that you didn't really see at first, you know, because even if you think of relationship counseling, you know, you're going to have to do things like not speak when the other person is speaking. You're going to have to actually relay back what it is that they're saying to you to make sure that you understood it. You're going to have to do homework, you know, to make sure that you can, it's literally like finding, like not starting a fresh new life. I won't say that, but it may almost feel like that for some of you, because you're going to have to take a step back outside of yourself, outside of your ego, outside of your own wants and desires. And you're going to actually have to consider, and this isn't to say you're not considering your partner anyway, but oftentimes when you're in conflict and when you're in fight or flight mode, or when you're in I need to defend myself mode, the other person can sometimes, they can kind of fall to the wayside in a sense. It's not that you don't love them. It's not that you don't care about them. But in that particular moment, you're like, no, I just want things to be, I want to be understood. I want to be heard. I want to be seen, things of that nature. So, and then, or if you're the more passive side and you kind of just let the other person, your partner, just kind of have their way with things and you just stay quiet, you know, a part of you is internally boiling inside, because it's like, I really want this with you, but you know, we have to find a way to make it work all together. But I feel like that is definitely what is coming in here. But there is going to be a lot of work. Maybe it'll come out in the oracle cards. There is going to be a lot of work that needs to be done just to get to this Lover's energy and then find this, because they're very opposite. You have the Five of Wands over here, and then the Two of Pentacles is how it ends, and it's 3, 4, 5 people over here, and then you have just one person. So it's literally kind of merging and meshing all of this into this one thing, if that makes sense. So it's not like you have multiple personalities or anything, but it's like these different wants and desires and goals that you have for the relationship. It's not so loud and messy. You actually have cleaned it up and found a way to balance it and make it work for you in a way that is healthier, in a way that is, I don't know why condensed came to me. Like, you think of something being condensed or just made like compacted into something smaller, into smaller compartments. So maybe what's going to happen with this Three of Pentacles is it's going to allow you to, you know, break it down piece by piece, break each part of the relationship down piece by piece. And then you'll be able to take a step back and say, oh, okay, so this was something I was dealing with internally. How can I benefit this relationship? What work can I do with myself, for myself, that will benefit this relationship and allow me to, us to kind of bring it back together, you know? Just kind of taking space for yourself and understanding, like, you know, though I am in this partnership, I still have to be able to regulate my own emotions, my own, you know, mind, and, you know, everything that comes along with myself. So I definitely feel like that is what's coming in for you all. I'm going to get into the oracle cards now just to see what else comes out. Let's see. So I pulled a lot, so... All right, so you have take time to breathe out, disseminating moon. Your commitment is being tested, first quarter moon. Juno, partnership. Then you have North Node, future. You have focus on your priorities. Where you put your focus is where you receive your outcome. Your priorities are calling to you, which may produce a feeling of anxiety unless you give them the time and attention they and you deserve. Even a small amount of time devoted to your priorities will help you feel better and more confident. And then I pulled 3 lesson cards for you all. You have guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. You have failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. And then you have pride. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. Okay, so I just want to touch on a few things before I actually read the oracle messages. I think that it's weird because when I saw this Juno partnership card, I see the parrots. And remember how I was saying how in relationship counseling, or not even really, but just in healthy communication, you kind of have to repeat back to the person what they said so that you can make sure that that's actually a therapy technique. Like, say, for example, your partner says, oh, I don't want to go here because I don't like these people. This is just an example. I don't know. So then you'll repeat back, just so that I'm clear. Are you saying that you don't want to go here because you don't like these people? Because, like, in your mind, if you hear, like, say you want to go somewhere really bad and they're like, I don't want to go here because I don't like these people. But you're, in your mind, all you hear is, I don't want to go here. But it's somewhere you really want to go. But instead of factoring in the fact that they said they don't like the people, all you heard was, I just don't want to go. And it's like, damn, well, I want to go. Why don't you want to go? And then it turns into an argument. Something like that. That's just a way. But it's interesting because, like I said, with parrots, they kind of repeat back what is said. So maybe that is something that you actually want to consider doing with your partner, as far as like a technique that you can learn if that's something that you all are dealing with. Another thing I want to touch on is this pride card. I love myself and I see myself in everyone. Remember how I was saying that, you know, you kind of both are arguing or having these bouts or disagreements, but the end goal is still the same. Like, you both want the same thing. It's almost like taking your ego out of it and operating from a space of a heart space, which can be difficult at times because you have to unlearn the things that put you in your ego in the first place, that make you feel like, oh, I need to be in fight or flight mode in the first place. So it's kind of putting that down and understanding, like, okay, we are in this together. At the end of the day, I have to kind of pull back sometimes, just as your partner may have to. It's, you know, it's going to be different, but I'm just speaking to you, so I'm just putting it in that way. But apply it where it may, you know, it may go. And then, like I was saying with this 3 of Pentacles energy, there's a lot of unlearning that needs to be done. So you will be releasing guilt, and you will be understanding that, like, okay, I didn't fail at this, because again, either you're in this space of 5 of Wands and you're feeling defeated and that's why you're here, or you're confused about it, or it's something from the past that you're working towards and you're saying, like, okay, is this really going to get better? I'm like in this limbo phase. Like, it looks like it's just quiet right now, maybe for you. But at the end of the day, it's picking up and it's going where it needs to go. It looks as though you both are putting the work in, whether you see it on one end or not, or they see it, or, you know, you may be kind of confused. Like, it's going to work out as long as you keep your mind on the goal, both of you as a team, because this is a team effort here. And then also releasing any beliefs that no longer assist in your growth. Like, that, again, that's unlearning and then relearning in a new way. If you have to reparent yourself, and it's not to say you had bad parents, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, you know, but we all get what we get, you know, God gives us what we're called to get. So it's not a matter of feeling guilty about it or feeling like, oh, I'm late in the learning game, because I can guarantee you age has no amount of factor on this. You know, you're not too late. You're not too soon. You're not too anything. You're right on time. So just being able to recognize and release those what is the word I'm looking for? Those habits that maybe assisted you at one point in time. Maybe there was a time you did need to defend yourself in communication or in love or in relationships or whatever. But now is not the time for that. You've actually aligned with someone who is on the same page as you, who wants the same things as you. And, you know, like I said, as long as you both keep your eye on the ball and you continue to go for that, then that is what it will be, you know. And I don't see that kind of letting up. It seems like you both have what it takes to get there. There just may be some you know, just taking a step back and realizing like, okay, I have to work on myself first, and then we have to bring it together in whatever way we can that works for us. So I just want to make sure. And then I think this is the last one that I want to touch on before I actually read out of the book. So North Node. I know that, you know, we have the South Node and then the North Node. So this is kind of, again, going towards your future, going towards your like destined path, not staying in the South Node, which is how we, like, it can, you know, pertain to past lives or just how we've operated in our past, and just pushing yourself out of that. It's not going to be the easiest because you're going in two opposite directions. You can either stay comfortable in your South Node or go completely north, which they're two opposite ways of being, two opposite pathways to go. It can get really difficult at times, and I think that's why it says your commitment is being tested here, because it's like, how committed are you to your growth? How committed are you to this relationship? Are you more committed to yourself, and or do you really want this to work? You have to kind of be committed to something beyond yourself. And, you know, even if you have to put your faith in other things outside of what it is that you see in your reality, you know, God is always with you. And I can't stress it enough. God is always with you no matter what the battle is that you're facing. There's always going to be room for God. And staying committed to him and what it is that he defines love as is extremely important, because even if you think of Corinthians in the Bible and what it says that love is, you know, it's patient, it's kind, it doesn't keep track of faults, it doesn't count things. Like, it's not like, oh, that's more so ego, that's more so like just it's self-serving, you know, and that's not what love is at all. If anything, love gives freely. Like, it doesn't have that, oh, I need, like, it's not keeping tabs. So, I think if you were to just stay committed to that in itself, then, you know, it'll work out in the way that it's supposed to. So now I want to read out of the book. So I'm going to read the Moonology Oracle cards first. And that is on page... you gotta take time to breathe out. That's on page 34, and it says, so I'm only going to read the first part of it. It says, the intensity of the full moon has abated, and what are we left with? That's what this card is asking you. It suggests that the situation you're asking about has now peaked, and it's time for you to regroup and learn from your experiences rather than blindly forging ahead. Have faith that what is happening is for the best. Try to accept the way things are now and give yourself and others time out to relax. Breathe. We can't be on all the time. If you feel that you've hit an obstacle or even failed in some way, now's the time to reflect on how to do things differently next time. Be honest with yourself if you feel bad about your current situation, and then remind yourself, oh, shoot, I almost dropped this, that life goes in cycles. I almost dropped this damn book. So, that's going back to what I was saying. So with this Five of Wands energy, so whether you're in a space right now where, like, say you and your partner did argue, and like you kind of taking time out to, like, it's kind of quiet on your end, and you're like, I don't know what's going on. This is just your time to regroup and to figure out where your headspace really, really lies. Even if you have to journal about it and write it down so that you can, you know, understand it better. Just taking this time to yourself to, like, because it's going to come back together at some point, and you're going to figure out, like, whether this is wise counseling or actual relationship therapy. Either way it goes, it's going to be different for all of you. But no matter what it is, failure, and it's crazy because I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. Failure, as long as you're still breathing, as long as you're still going, you still have that opportunity. The only time you won't have that opportunity is when your eyes close and it's time to go. But other than that, don't take failure as like, oh man, I will never have this opportunity again. I will never, because what's meant for you will not pass you by at the end of the day. And if this person is really meant for you, which it looks like you both are meant for each other in some way, shape, or form, then it will be at the end of the day. This is just a time for reflection for you. And you know, it's okay to be honest. Like, okay, I did this in a way that I didn't have to, or they did, this in a way that maybe I can understand better now that we're out of it, because sometimes you will argue with your partner and you come back later on and you're like, damn, I was kind of tripping. Or, even if they was tripping, damn, they was kind of tripping. And I still love them no less, but they need time to cool off. It's just kind of recognizing things for what they are. But you have to think, this is like after the disseminating moon is after the full moon, and you just think of the intensity of it and how heightened emotions are heightened at that time. This is like the aftermath of it. So I think for most of you, maybe you had the argument and then this is like the cooling off part of it, and you're like, I don't know which way we're gonna go. But it does say here to have faith. So and like I was stressing to you before, God is always with you. You can always pray about it and ask God to guide you and see where that leads to you, going from there. If you can't do it yourself, obviously you can't, rely on something bigger than you and have faith in that. So let's see. Nextly, we have your commitment is being tested, first quarter moon. And that one is on page 20. Oh gosh, I keep hitting stuff. 28. And it says, there could be some challenges coming your way, but they're just the universe's way of testing you. The first quarter moon calls for you to face any hurdles with confidence. What do you actually think is possible? If you believe you can do it, then you probably can. If you spend your life affirming that something is too big for you to surmount, it probably is. See how it works? Do you believe your dreams will come true, or have you secretly already given up? Showing some commitment now will help you move towards your desired outcome. What you believe to be true is true for you. So believe in yourself. Yes, exactly. And as soon as I saw that, I thought of this Two of Pentacles energy where I said you have to kind of, like, these all have different people in it, but this one's just you by yourself, or even your partner by yourself, and you're both figuring out separately or individually how to balance it out in a way that works for you. Like, it's not about the other person. Like, you have to just focus on your own shit. Like, what can you fix within yourself or revamp within yourself that needs to get out of the ego, get out of the fight or flight mode, and how can you make that work for you? Because that is what's going to lead to this 10 of Cups energy at the end of the day. This way isn't the right way. This way is. So again, it's saying your commitment is being tested. Your commitment to yourself, your commitment to the relationship, your commitment to, but ultimately it's your commitment to yourself. Because if you have no faith in yourself or what it is that you're doing, then none of this other shit is going to work. So if you've already believed in your mind, because this Five of Wands moment happened, that is over, it can't go anywhere, it's never going to go anywhere again, then that is what's going to be true for you, because you're not going to allow anything else in. But if you believe with all of your heart and all of your mind that this is what you want for yourself, at the end of the day, this was just a moment in time, but I still want to be with you, then that's what it's going to be on both ends. It has to be that way. It can't be flip-floppy one or the other. You both have to be on the same page, or else it's not going to work. Again, you have Juno partnership here. And partnership is not, it's not a one-way street. It's a one-way, you can't just have one person wanting to be with somebody and then the other person's like, I don't know about that. Like, it's like, what? Like, what are you here for? So it's about staying true to the end goal at the end of the day. All right. So I'm going to read the, the Starcodes book. So put this one here. So that one is 31 and 34. 31 is on page 78. And I'm only going to read the action. Or you know what? Yeah, I'll read the action. So it says, in work and love, Juno wants you to trust that you can hold steady on your life's path and develop equal partnerships. So get in there and wrestle to make the relationship work. Research healthy relationship skills and study negotiation and mediation techniques. Practice respect, communication, love, and conflict resolution between the various facets of your own personality. Like Juno and Jupiter, strive to become two whole, empowered souls who can express their individual potential, work around each other's foibles, and find balance. Be responsible for your own connection to the creative source spirit and your emotions. Don't ask another to carry your heart for you, as it makes it hard to accept their unique path. Live out your ambition through your own work rather than through the mate, children, employees, or coworkers. If you do so, you can encourage others' growth and exploration along with your own, and so create the foundations of great relationships and a sense of community. If you don't, you can devolve into jealousy or create monsters. If you want to be in a partnership but are not, examine any belief or training that said you have to give up what matters to you in order to partner up. If it's your choice to work alone, accept it. If not, expand that view and invite fresh possibilities. So yes, this just wraps up this whole thing into that Two of Pentacles energy, kind of focusing on yourself, and that will bring the partnership in with you. So listen, whether this is you're single or whether you're in a relationship, and it's an internal battle to begin with at the end of the day. So if you're single and you decide, hey, I want to go to therapy, seek this wise counsel individually, and find a way to balance it out and figure out what's going on within you so that you can be more, I don't know why the word palatable came to my mind, but like you think of being able to digest something more digestible, because like maybe you have a way of like operating in a way that's more, and it's going to sound like an attack to some people. I don't really care, because at the end of the day, I'm just telling the truth. It may come off as more selfish at times, and that's not the way to go when it comes to a relationship. Or even if it's the other person, like if you're in a relationship, maybe they're the more selfish one or whatever, but this is about finding what works for you. And if you have to go outside of yourself to do it, you have to rely on other sources or means or whatever to pull you out of that selfishness, to pull you out of that ego, to pull you out of that combative, argumentative, fight or flight energy in order to get here. Then you have to do what you have to do, but it's up to you to make those choices for yourself. It's not going to just happen overnight, and it's not going to just happen because you wished for it. Just like faith without works is dead, so is manifestation without works. I know a lot of people don't really get into the faith side of it. They just want to just manifest. They want to write it down and call it in and think. No, you actually have to put the work in too on the other end of that. You know what I mean? You're not going to just wake up and, yeah, for sure, for some people they're handed that shit on a silver platter and you kind of wonder how or why, but that's not for you to worry about. The focus is on yourself and not really comparing yourself to other people and their situations at the end of the day. So I feel like this is basically a call out to those of you who try to make you'd rather other people just kind of fall in line with what it is that you have in mind. You have to be willing to consider other people as well. And that's just a message for those of you who do not do that. It won't be for everybody, but for those of you who do not consider other people when you're making decisions, or when you, want something in life or a relationship, you have to sometimes take yourself out of it completely and not even factor yourself in. And I'm not saying just forget about yourself, but if you already operate from such a selfish place or a one-sided place, sometimes you literally do have to sit back and say, all right, like I was tripping, like I was saying before. So, and lastly, you have, I was about to say Juno again. You have North Node, and that's 34, and that one is on page 84. And that one, the action says, think about where you'd like to be and what you'd like to be doing in 10 years, and make this a beacon that guides you through the time in between. Notice what piques your curiosity, if that something excites and beckons you, even if it's unfamiliar. Practice beginner's mind and learn the basics. Some people may resist your change and tell you to stay in your lane, but that is just their discomfort talking. Advisors, friends, or employees who were once perfect for you may no longer be the companions you need on this fresh path. If they truly wish the best for you, they will eventually celebrate as your world expands. If your field of expertise feels too small or confined, branch out and explore new territory. Along this path are people you need to meet in situations that push you out of your comfort zone and call you to your soul's growth. Now, when it says here, Some people may resist your change and tell you to stay in your lane. I feel like those some people may be you, yourself, like talking to yourself. Like maybe you like learn a new technique. Say you are going to relationship counseling or even individual counseling, and you learn a new technique, like, okay, I'm going to try this. And then when it comes time to actually apply that, you're like, no, I want to do what I usually do because that's more comfortable. No, now is not the time to do what is comfortable because you're moving into a new space and a new, just think of, granted, like, I don't know why I was about to use that, like actually moving, but you do take some of the furniture with you, but you're not taking the paint on the walls, you're not taking the floors with you, you're not taking the roof, you're not taking the closets and everything else. You may just take what it is that you need to sleep on, you know, your dressers, things of that. You're not taking the entire foundation. So it's like, yeah, nobody's saying, you know, completely be a different person. You know, you want to continue to be who you are at your core, but at your core, all those things that you learn here in this Five of Wands energy that can make you in fight or flight mode, that's things you learned along in life. That's life circumstances happening to you that cause you to operate in that way. That's not who you were born as. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, don't take the foundation with you. Just take what is necessary, what is needed, what decorates the house. Yeah, take your personality, you know, things like that. But don't take those defensive energies with you. I feel like that's what this card is saying. And like I said, it's the north node versus the south node here. So you pick your poison. And I don't even want to consider either one to really be poison when I say that. I'm not saying like it's something toxic. I'm just saying, you know what pick your poison means. Do which one is... do the lesser of the, I'm not even gonna say lesser two evils. Like, it sounds crazy when I say it, but like, because my point is that each one is going to be difficult to stay in. If you stay in your south node energy, you'll forever be stuck there. You won't find the love of your life, and even if you do find them, you won't know how to handle them. They won't know how to handle you because they're still operating that energy. There's just going to be a conflict after conflict after conflict. But if this is an internal thing, yeah, no, you have to think of it like this. I know some people like to think that there's somebody for everybody, and if it don't work out with one, it'll work out with others. But look at the statistics. Some people pass away and transition into the afterlife alone. And there is not someone for everyone. So either you do the hard work, or you do the work that's more fulfilling but still difficult, or you just continue to be who you are. You know, free will is a thing. You can continue to do what it is that you want to do, but at the end of the day, like this card says, focus on your priorities. What do you prioritize at the end of the day? And even if it brings up feelings of anxiety, even if it brings up feelings of fear, do the thing anyway. You already know how it feels to be stuck in this combative energy. So how are you going to move forward and advance so that you're able to meet the love of your life? Or if you've already met the love of your life, so that you're able to operate in your best energy when you're dealing with them. But yeah, for the most part, what I feel like is coming next, you know, as long as you stay the course, like I said, there's some mediation that is coming in here. There's some counseling that's coming in here. There's some therapy that's coming in here, because the end goal, like I said, is the same. It's just something has to intervene. There's some sort of intervention coming in. And, you know, there's going to be work required that you need to pull yourself out of in order to fulfill it. But it can definitely be done. It is attainable. And yeah. So, part one. If this resonates with you, please let me know down below in the comments. Or you can simply like this video. Liking it goes a long way for me personally. I appreciate you all. You can also subscribe if this resonates and it's something you'd like to see more of. As I said in the intro, if you want to book a personal session with me, I am open for both distance Reiki and intuitive tarot sessions on my website, www.theangelicmuse.com. You can also just go back down below in the description box and click it that way. But if this is where I leave you, then I thank you so much for being here, and I pray you enjoy the rest of your day or your night. Hey, Palo 2. So if you chose this white little tea light candle, here is your reading. So I'm going to start out with your tarot first, and then I'm going to pull your oracle cards to see what comes up. So, tarot. So your first card, we have the Three of Wands. Second card is the Ten of Swords. Third card is the King of Cups. Fourth card is the Two of Pentacles in reverse. And then your last card is the Ten of Pentacles. Okay. So, whether you are in a relationship, single, dealing with somebody, I just want to say that you don't seem too hopeful about whatever the situation is. You feel like, I feel like a lot of you may feel like you're in like some sort of waiting game, or you're just hopeful at least a little bit, but not really. But what's next in love for you? I feel like it's a bit of overwhelm here. And before you click off this video, I don't mean overwhelm in a sense like you're going to like lose your shit. I just mean the overwhelm is more of like an internal thing. Like you're kind of conjuring things up in your mind, and they're becoming bigger than what they are because of that. Now, the Three of Wands, you know, it typically talks about, you know, making a decision on something and, you know, kind of waiting your turn and, you know, just being able to, I just saw 222 on the clock. So maybe waiting your turn. Maybe you're waiting for something. Maybe it's like, say you're in a relationship and you're like, you've been in it for a while and you're like, well, what's going to happen next? Are we taking it to the next level? Are we moving forward? But because you're not, I feel like with this Ten of Swords energy, that's where it comes into you making it maybe bigger than what it is, when really it's just not going on the timeline your brain wants it to go into, but it's still going nonetheless. With this King of Cups right in the middle, it's interesting. You don't have any major arcana, which I'm not, you know, I'm not saying anything about that, but the King of Cups, for some reason, with him being in the middle, he just gives me major arcana vibes. I know he's not, but just think of him and how he's the most in tune masculine energy of the other kings. Like he knows his emotions and he kind of moves off of them too, but not in a way that is detrimental to the decisions that he makes. There's some sort of, I don't want to say he's logical, that's more so Swords energy, but he's still pretty balanced. And I feel like that is maybe what's coming into you, is some sort of way, like learning how to balance your emotions so that when you are in these waiting periods or these pools of overwhelm with this Two of Swords, you still understand that the path and the end goal is still here, and that you're going to make it through regardless. So say you're single and you're just waiting for the love of your life, and you're like, where are you and why am I so single? I've been single X, Y, and Z, and I've been doing the work, or at least I feel like I have, but there are still certain parts, obviously, that still need to be maybe tweaked a little bit before the next phase is, like, you're brought into the next phase. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with just how you think about it. So, you may have a slower way to go than the people around you. But I will say this, there are so many people who get married within a couple months and divorced within a couple seconds. You know what I mean? So it's not a matter of you comparing it in that sense. That's not something you want to do if that is what you are doing. And I know that it's hard because with social media and, you know, and even the Ten of Swords can talk about that, like just comparing yourself or looking at other people's situations. It's hard not to do that, but at the same time, if you really look at the inner workings of even some of these celebrity relationships that people like to glorify and look towards for inspiration, it's like, no, you only see what people want you to see at the end of the day. That's all it is. Even if they want to show you some sort of trial they've gone through, that's only because they wanted you to see it. You know what I'm saying? So you'll never fully know to know everything about anything. That's just something I would like for you to keep in mind, and I feel like that's kind of what the cards are saying may be your guiding force when it comes to how you move and how you operate. I will say this though, the Ten of Pentacles here being at the end of it, that's why it made me say, like, you may have a slower way to go than other people, but you're building something extremely strong here. This talks about generational wealth. This talks about ancestry. This talks about your bloodline and things like that. So say, for example, the things that you need to work on when it comes to love or a relationship have to do with things that your parents may have done, or your grandparents, or your aunts and uncles. It could be anywhere within the bloodline, but it may be something that you are being called to stop. And that is why it's taking you a while, because you're so equipped and used to doing something in a way that ends up leading you to playing this waiting game, being in comparison mode, or not being able to self-regulate yourself. But think about the king, and this isn't even the queen. The Queen of Cups is more feminine and receptive energy, but the King of Cups, he takes matters into his own hands. He calls the shots, he makes the decisions, he makes the moves. So again, this is about how you operate throughout your relationships and how you operate when you're not in one as well. Because whether this king has a queen or not, he's still a king. You have to be a queen and marry in to become that. The king is just who he is all by himself. And you don't have to be a man. You definitely can be a woman, which, I mean, most of my audience is women. So, but it's just about being able to stand on your own 2 feet without having all the extra shit next to you. And I feel like that's why he kind of feels so major arcana to me, because he's right in the middle. For one, this is the core of all of this. Like, without this, like, if you were to regulate this, none of this would be here. You wouldn't even feel this sense of overwhelmingness or feel like, oh, it's too much on my plate. Now, I will say there's not, like, as humans, you know, sometimes we do get overburdened with things, especially with our emotions. Like, that can happen a lot because, you know, your emotions can go up and down and all around, and you really don't, sometimes you can't quite explain it. But there are certain techniques and things that can be done to regulate that. For example, when it comes to this comparison energy, or when it comes to playing the waiting game, being excited in the moment anyway, knowing that it's going to happen. Like, not so much like just staying present and working with what it is that you have in the moment is going to do wonders for you in the future. Because if you were to always look towards the future, or always look towards what other people have going on, you'll never be satisfied, because you'll always want more. But if you were to take all of this away and just be stuck by yourself, if you were the only person in the world with your partner, whether you're in a relationship or not, you wouldn't really have anything to compare it to. You're just working alongside your partner, and, you know, building your legacy that way. Whereas when you have all these other factors involved, that's what leads to you having your hands more full than usual. It's so interesting because Pile 1 had the 2 of Pentacles, but it was upright. And it's just crazy how, I mean, granted it's reversed here, but it's just crazy how much more overwhelming this feels in comparison to them. And although it was upright, you know, sometimes it can still be overwhelming in the upright position depending on how you read them. So, but I just feel an extreme sense of overwhelm with this pile. But what's next in love for you is more self-love, more guidance in that department, and not really in just enjoying your partner, enjoying your life, enjoying your singlehood if you are single, and not really putting so much pressure on the future. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you have the 10 of Pentacles to end your reading. This talks about building something stable, solid, something that your kids, your grandkids, your just descendants in general, whether you want kids or not, there will be descendants after us, children coming after us, and just being an example, or the guiding force for them, or guiding, like that beacon of hope for them, more so, for lack of a better term. um this is going to withstand the tests of time. So that relationship, that love, that marriage, that partnership, whatever it is, you're building up for something while you're waiting and going through all these motions and things like that. There's something being built in the midst of all of that as well. So whether you want to complain and you would be essentially prolonging the building of it. However, not so much to the point where like you're definitely putting some sort of like hold on it the more you know continue on in that energy. And I just saw 11:11 on the clock when I said that. So you're definitely, you know, prolonging the situation the more you operate in this energy. However, it's still going to work out for you regardless because it's meant for you. You know, you just are kind of making it a longer journey than it has to be. But the choice is essentially yours. As far as what's coming next, there will be some sort of challenges that you will have to go through. As with life, you know, life in itself has challenges, but these are more so geared towards you making yourself comfortable, if that makes sense. So like there will be moments where you can have the opportunity to compare yourself, but you'll have to tell yourself not to, or draw yourself back and say, okay, wait a minute now, this is not the time for that. This is only going to hurt the situation. This is only going to prolong this pain, this isolation mode that I'm in. It's about mastering your emotions and knowing what to do with them. Being able to self-regulate and still be disciplined in your emotions. You're going to have them come up, and just kind of being able to shut them down and say, okay, this is not how I'm operating. I need to clean all this shit up, and just getting really detail oriented and being able to pick apart or being able to differentiate between what emotions are here to serve me and what emotions are here to hurt. Because we can unintentionally hurt our situations as well as intentionally too. But I feel like this is coming more so from an unintentional place. You're not really out to hurt anyone when you say, hey, what are we doing next? It's more so just like, hey, I'm seeing all this other stuff happen around me, and I'm wondering when it's my turn. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with wondering when your turn will come up. There's perfectly fine to be curious about those things. It's when it becomes detrimental, or it becomes like a bashing or an attack on the other person or yourself in terms of where you are at in life. But I'm going to get into your oracle cards now and see what comes up for that, because I'm pretty sure that it's going to give me more insight on everything going on. So we have Surrender to the Divine, Full Moon for your first one. Emotions are running high, Super Moon. These look similar. One's just bigger. Then you have Libra, Balance. You got Virgo, Digest. And then you have Abundance Mindset. If you think of your abundance as something that happens in the future, then it will always be one day away from you. See, feel, think, and speak of abundance as something you already have in the present moment, and that is what you will experience. I'm surprised I didn't say the word abundance. Oh my goodness. This is kind of digging into what I was saying though about the waiting game, but that's crazy. I don't know what abundance didn't come to me. Anyway, loneliness. I know that I am never alone. Discipline. I can accomplish what I set my mind to. And then you have happiness. I am aware that being happy means that I am on the right path. Okay, so cool. So I want to talk about a couple things before I get into the whole reading of them out of the oracle, the guidebooks. But let me just touch on a couple things. So first of all, I think that it's interesting because I pulled Libra and then I pulled Virgo. They're right next to each other, but this one's 7 and this one's 6. So like I was saying, I think this is about you kind of taking a step back. I don't know why that came to me when I saw the 7 and 6. I was like, this is like taking a step back and like reanalyzing, redoing. And, you know, Virgo is just very particular and detail oriented. So it's maybe like going back. In order to find that balance, you have to go back a little bit in order to, you know, figure out what needs the tweaking, what needs the work, or whatever the case may be. I don't know why it came to me, but it did. Touching on this abundance mindset card, this goes back to what I was saying about playing the waiting game and the whole comparison energies and being able to regulate yourself in the midst of that, so you don't feel so overwhelmed, so that you're able to build in the right ways and not ways that are detrimental to you, your mind, your purpose, your path, whatever the case may be, your relationship, partnership, all of that. This is outside of love, but the reading is focused on love, but this can apply to any part of your life, is what I'm saying. It says, if you think your abundance is something that happens in the future, it will always be a day away from you. This is about staying present in the moment and appreciating what it is that you have in the moment, because you won't have this moment back again. So it's like you want to use it wisely, use your time wisely, use your mind wisely, your thoughts, your feelings, all of that. It has to kind of work together. If you have two different things, your emotions are battling with your mind, or your mind is battling with your emotions, you'll find yourself in these conflicted areas all the time. You'll be bumping heads, whether you're constantly in arguments with your partner, whether you're constantly in internal battles with yourself. It'll always just be like this bumping of heads, and that's not the way to balance it. But I can understand, because it says you have the full moon and then the super moon. These are two extremely heightened times. Like, you know, the full moon, you're more prone to car accidents and road rage and things like that. And then the super moon, that's just like a full moon on fucking steroids. Like, I gotta read it out the book. I got it over here, but it's like a full moon on steroids. Like, it's extremely big. It's expansive. But and I don't know why when I thought of expansive, I thought of Jupiter, and how, like, you know, expansion, whether Jupiter is the planet of expansion or not, it'll expand in whatever area it's called to. It doesn't necessarily be a positive expansive. It can be one that actually hurts. So that goes back to what I was saying, and feeding your mind things that are necessary for it, as opposed to things that'll kind of hurt it or be detrimental to it. Going into these lessons real quick. Loneliness, I know that I am never alone, it kind of ties to me. And when I see that card, I think of knowing that you're not going through it by yourself. For one, I would say knowing that God is always with you, as I always say all the time. So whenever you don't have anyone to lean on, know that you can lean on your superhero God, our creator, at the end of the day. But not only that, but like, I see the women here all around, and they're kind of holding up the same things. And it's like, just knowing that, you know, you're never alone in your situation. There's always one other person. If not, you think there's billions of people on the planet. So it's really more than one person going through the same situation as you in their own unique way. So not feeling so much of, like, it being so much of an attack. So say, for an example, you're in a relationship and you're like, when is this relationship moving in, or moving into marriage, or moving into children, whatever the case may be. You're not the only one going through it. And that is not to say that your situation is minimized. It's not to minimize the situation. It's just to minimize the impact that it has on you as a person. Because a lot of times we go through these things and we feel like, oh, I'm the only person in the world, and it's just me. Why me? Why me? It's not just you. It's you and 100 billion other people. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not you, but it's this other 1,000 people over here too going through it. It's just kind of finding a way to understand that we're all connected in some way, shape, or form, and that we all have our battles to go through, so that you are able to, again, regulate your emotions again and say, okay, I can take myself out of it from a more personal level. Yes, it's happening to me, but understanding, like, this is just life. This is life for me and a couple other people, and we're going to get through it together. That kind of thing, if that makes sense. So hopefully that helps in some way. But again, like I said, there will be some challenges that come up, especially in the emotional department, because this discipline card, I can accomplish what I set my mind to. Again, you have the 10 of Swords energy up here, where this is all mental. Swords is all mental energy, and it's an attack on the mind. Kind of taking those swords up out of your well, not your back really, but just up out of you, and replacing them with other things, bandaging them up, closing off the wounds, and figuring out where the source came from in the first place. Who put that sword in you? You know what I mean? And whether, you did it to yourself, that's still recognizing, okay, I can control when I put this sword into myself. I can control who's around me, what influences are around me or that I take in, whether you need to do a social media detox or just kind of get yourself away from other people that are hurting the situation even more, putting bugs into your ears, telling you such and so ain't shit, and they are, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's just really fully harnessing your power and your control. Because like I said, the 10 of Pentacles came out. It's inevitable that you're going to build this thing up. It may be slower energy. Pentacles is the slowest, but it's still worth it in the end because, like I said in the beginning, you got people who get married within a couple months. You got people who get married within a couple days. They last, 2 seconds? Or they last a couple years. And then your whole time, you lasting for a lifetime. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to look at it from different perspectives. Though it does get tricky at times. That's the point, to trick you up. But it's on you to, figure out whether or not that's worth it or not in the end. And then this happiness card kind of goes along with this abundance mindset. I am aware that being happy means that I'm on the right path. Like if you have a partner, whether you're single or in a relationship, it doesn't matter. If you have someone that makes you happy, or if you make yourself happy, and you can find joy in the simplest things, that in itself is a feat. Because there are so many people, and again, it's not a knock on nobody, but it's just saying we don't all, just because something looks a certain way doesn't mean it's right. There are people who are married who still act single. There are still people in relationships who are single and they are miserable. And you have the choice on whether you want to be miserable. If you can find happiness in the slightest things, just being grateful for the fact that you woke up, grateful for the fact that you are blessed enough to see the day, that is a feat in itself. Because again, there are a lot of miserable people in this world. So you have to kind of pick which one you are going to decide to be on this day, starting now. But yeah, so let me, I'm going to read these out of the book now to see what comes up. So we have, let me do the Moonology one first, actually. So you have Surrender to the Divine Full Moon, and that one is on page 32. And it says, the very word climax brings all sorts of ideas and images to mind. Agreed? But it really is the feeling of this card. Life is coming to a head, a point, a conclusion, or a turning point. There may be some kind of change and possibly even some sort of emotional explosion. Tune into your emotions now and see what they're telling you. They're very likely close to the surface, no matter when in the moon cycle you've pulled this card. Matters will soon conclude and you'll find out whether or not your wishes are going to come true. The odds are in your favor as this is a positive card, but you may need to work harder than usual to keep cool as events unfold. Yes, so that goes all the way back to here. Whether you are having these, and I get it, because like I said, I supposed to say rage fits. I don't know why, but I get it because it's full moon energy, super moon energy. Whether you are having these fits of anger, explosiveness, you're like tired of it. You're like, this is bullshit. Like I'm fucking done with it. Like, honor that. Yes. Have that moment because you don't want to keep that bottled up and in, but do not misplace that anger on what is not meant for it. You know what I mean? Go do that in a healthy way. Fucking rip up paper, go to a rage room, do some shit like that, but do not misplace that anger because it will change the entire course of this. You have to understand, tarot is just based on current energy and where you are at right now as you are listening to this in the circumstances. That's why they're timeless. I mean, if you don't understand that, then now you do. But at the same time, this can change. If you were to misplace this shit and do it a whole nother way, it's not going to turn out in the way that it's stating here. So just be very, very mindful of your emotions and how you, if you are the type to explode, I just feel like I need to be called to say that. Do that in the healthiest ways possible, because explosions are inevitable at times. We you know, especially when you hold on to things a lot and you just kind of sit, like, imagine sitting here peacefully, like, you're like, when is it going to happen? And you're like, what the fuck, it didn't happen? You know what I mean? Like, some shit. Not saying you're like that, but I'm just saying some people are. So I just felt like I needed to say, I know people like that. And I just be having the time to chill out a little bit. And, you know, you do what you want at the end of the day, but there are consequences. And I'm going to read this Emotions Are Running High card in a minute, but I just want to say this does say that the odds are in your favor. So like I said, you know, you having a moment is cool. The wealth, the generational love, the prosperity and all that is going to come. It may be a slower way to go, like this card says. You may need to work harder than usual, but look at what you're going for. You know what I mean? You're going for longevity. You're building that endurance. You're building that strength up so that you can withstand and last the test of time. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. And then you have lastly Supermoon, and that one is on page 110. And it says, this card suggests that the answer to whatever you're asking is writ large with the silvery full moon set against the velvety night sky. If you're wondering how successful something is going to be, such as a job or a relationship, the answer is very. To use common parlance, the answer to your question may well be that it's under your nose. This card is about being larger than life, being special, and bursting with energy that you can tune into and work with. You can expect plenty of good things and a positive outcome when this card comes up, but you may find there's a lot of emotion to deal with too. There's also a sense that the opportunities around whatever you're asking about don't come along every day, so take action. So yes, this says bursting with energy that you can tune into and work with. So that ties right back into what I was saying about emotions. Make sure that you're workable, like you're not overwhelmed to the point of that your own detriment. You know what I mean? Take that time to cool off. Know when to say when it comes to whether you're in a relationship or not. Like, don't go causing conflict and turmoil and upheaval just because you are feeling some type of way. Make sure that you can work with yourself and other people can work with you too. That's what's going to lead you to your, you know, the all the goodness and all the, like, it, again, like I said, you can honor your emotions and feel however you want to feel about it, but understand them too. And in understand them, you're gonna have to pick them apart and say, okay, it's normal and it's natural for me to feel this way, but maybe I can scale back a bit on this because I'm maybe thinking about it in a way that isn't helpful. Like I said, the comparison energy, you gotta find a way to work get away from that, because you'll be comparing yourself for the rest of your life if that's the case, and you do not want to make that a habit, especially with what we're dealing with in this world now. I'm telling you, a lot of this shit, all that glitters is not gold. It's not. And it's very important to know that. And just being very discerning with what it is that you see and how you see it is going to be very important and beneficial to you. But it seems like something exciting is about to happen for you, like some sort of turnaround. But I do feel like it's going to take some work. Obviously some hard work and determination, but you can do it. Like, it's definitely attainable. So then let me go into your Starcodes Astro cards. You have Libra, balance, and I'm only going to read the action here, and it says, compassion and purpose infuse beauty, and beauty flows from a balanced composition. To bring true balance to this situation, look at it through the lens of social justice and ask what will be unequivocally fair. Assess what you value, assess what others value, and find compromise. Become aware of any personal bias, whether you believe that your opinion is more important than someone else's, or that theirs is more important than yours. Chant, no justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. So the first one says N-O justice, N-O peace. The other one is K-N-O justice, K-N-O peace. Be fair, straightforward, appreciative, and kind. Look at the whole situation for better composition. Balance the colors, the light, the shapes, and forms. Make sure everyone in this relationship feels heard. Acknowledge the existing beauty in the situation and ask yourself how you can bring in more. Explore the arts, music, and movement. Engage in expressive joy and let your soul take in this powerful medicine. Whether at work, at home, or in your love life, this situation may require a partnership of equals. As you create beauty and balance in your situation, you may call in new people who want to dance with you. Meet them on a level field and explore what you can do together. Okay, so this definitely goes back into what I was saying about like kind of staying present in this whole abundance mindset card. Just being honest with yourself in the moment and finding that balance in what is happening in the present time, not looking towards the future so much, and considering your partner, if you are in a relationship, considering their thoughts. You never know what's going on in their mind. You're just over here waiting. Unless you're having the right conversations and asking the right questions, you won't be able to get to that answer because you'll just be so stuck in your head all the time. So this is a matter of asking the right questions and making sure that you're on the same page, relationship or not. Make sure, even if you're single, making sure you're on the same page with yourself so that you're not all scatterbrained, because that can lead to this Ten of Swords energy too, where you're just up and down, like, or down primarily, and then you find that little slither of up, but you don't know what to do with it, so you just go back down again. This is about finding that balance, that inner harmony and peace within. This is about, first of all, Libra is the Justice card, and you think of the Justice card and how the emotions aren't really factored into that card. It's just about, it is what it is. This is what is right. This is what is going to make the tip the scales in the way that makes sense for everybody. And though it may not feel good in the moment, it still makes sense for the time being. You know what I'm saying? It's like, think of a kid who wants candy, but they done had 4 or 5 pieces already. It's like, all right, enough is enough. Though you're upset about it, it's still enough. We got to balance this out so that you're still healthy on the inside. Things like that. That was a crazy example, but the first one that came to my head, so I'm going with it. And then your last one says Virgo. I go a page back on page 28. And that one says, look for the grain and release the chaff. Weed, harvest, sort. Something in the situation needs to be sorted, edited, or reorganized in order to bring in its harvest. Whether you're asking about a relationship, a work project, or the culture in which you work. Virgo wants you to be specific, sort and release a habit, not a person, and change how you interact, but not necessarily with whom you interact. Examine the situation for the patterns that need to be released and composted, and what seeds need to be saved for another time or planted for the next season. Rather than focusing on faults, appreciate what is valuable about each interaction, opportunity, and person. Truly absorb the worth and wonder, and be healed thereby. It may be time to take an introspective break and work on your self-care routine. Look at your diet and health habits to see what needs improvement. Absorb vitality. Well, that's a good point, looking at your diet and health habits. But not only that, but like I said, what it is that you're consuming. Whether it's too much social media, whether it's too many opinions and that have nothing to do with nothing. Just feeding yourself things that will nourish you, that will take care of you, that will feed you and help you to grow and build that strength and endurance that you're going to need to get to this Ten of Pentacles. Because it seems like whatever is being consumed at this time, or what was in the past, now that you're here, because you'll make better changes, God willing, you have to be able to stay disciplined in that. And like it says, you don't necessarily want to change who and what you interact with, but just how you do it and how you view it and how you look at it. Because again, abundance was wherever you are, and happiness is wherever you are, as long as you commit to it. You don't have to stay stuck in this energy of like, oh, when is it going to happen for me? Or, just enjoy life, enjoy the moment that you're in now, and all will be well. But it's all coming to you. You just, you'll prolong it on your own. You'll prolong it, but you just got to get disciplined with this King of Cups energy. Like I said, that king is a king whether they got a queen or not. You are who you are whether you have someone or not. You are beautiful, you are worthy, you are kind, and these are things you need to continue to tell yourself. Look in the mirror and say it with conviction, and you will eventually draw in someone that it matches that if you don't already have that. And if you do have that already, you will learn to recognize them even more, because you'll fall into place and fall into line in the way that you were meant to. So, pile 2. Oh, That was a good one. If this resonates with you, please let me know down in the comments. Sorry, I was stretching. Please let me know down in the comments. You can like and subscribe as well. Liking it helps a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like, just lets me know that what it is that I'm saying resonates in some way. Definitely give me a subscribe as well. If you want to book a personal session with me, you can do so by clicking the link down below, or you can just head over to my website, www.theangelicmuse.com, and you can book me that way. I'm open for intuitive tarot sessions as well as distance Reiki sessions too. So if this is where we leave each other, I thank you all so much for being here, and I pray you enjoy the rest of your day or your night. Hey Pile 3, last but not least, we have you. So if you chose this Palo Santo stick here, this is your reading. So we're going to start out with your tarot first, and then I'm going to get into your oracle cards to see what they have for us. So starting out with your tarot, first card we have the Star in reverse. Second card is the Two of Wands. Third card is the Ten of Cups. Fourth card is the Ten of Swords. And then your last card is the Knight of Pentacles. All right, Pile 3. So what's next in love for you? I would like to say, I typically, so for the other two piles, like I kind of got more so like you could be in a relationship or you couldn't be in a relationship. Now, whether you're in a relationship for this pile or not, it's more so giving me like situationship or singleness vibes, if nothing else. Like I'm not really getting, but you could be in one too. I feel like I'm gonna start over here with this Star card. It's the only major arcana card in the out of the 5, and it's in reverse. I'm getting a bit of what is the word I'm looking for? Not like you have self-esteem issues. Like you don't feel as confident. You don't feel as motivated to pour into yourself, to be comfortable with who you are on a soul level, like even within your body. Like, and I feel like with this Two of Wands facing it, you feel like you're kind of stuck in that energy as well. Now, this could either be the energy you were in, but I get like the feeling that you currently may still be in it, and I'll get into that in a minute, because the cards to follow may kind of piggyback off that too. I feel like you're stuck in this energy where you feel like you will never find someone, but the thing about it is that you have to be that person for yourself first before you can truly find someone else to be that for you. You know, if you're looking for someone to come in and fill that void, it's going to be nearly impossible. There's always going to be something that you're looking for them to fill, because you will never do the work in order to fill it for yourself. Just think of it like this. We come in this world alone, whether you're a twin or not. You come in this world alone. The breath in your body is yours alone, and you go alone too. You know, you're not on the timetable with someone else. You're not breathing someone else's air. So it's like you cannot, to solely rely on someone else to give that to you is going to leave you unfulfilled. It'll leave you in this lacking mindset mentality. And I feel like because you're fearful of doing the work yourself, that's what's leaving you stuck. You can't make the decision on even moving forward. You kind of don't even want to fathom the thought of what your happily ever after would look like, because it's too painful and overwhelming for you too. I think what you do is you may try to move in like this fast tracking mind. Maybe, I don't know why I just thought of age. Someone think like their age coming to them, like, oh, I'm too old for this, or I should have been had this. And you kind of on this timeline that you set for yourself, and because you may have passed it, or you know things didn't pan out the way you wanted it to, or maybe you had a 10 of cups, or what you thought was a 10 of cups. Maybe you had a relationship, you went through a breakup and you thought this was your person, and now it's too painful for you to look at it, like to look at the situation at all, because you're looking at other people and their situations, or you're even looking at what you could have, should have did, or what they could have, should have did. Just a multitude of different things. I get you not even wanting to face it though, so that's what leaves you in this feeling of feeling overwhelmed and unconfident and not good enough. But the thing is that you are, and you have this Knight of Pentacles to end it, the reading. So what's next in love, as long as you are willing to go that way with it, is a more methodical, slower approach to love, a slower approach to pouring into yourself and other people. Maybe you like to give a lot, maybe you give more to others than you do to yourself, and that could be something that stems from, you know, childhood or just your upbringing. You just feeling like you have to give, but you never pour back into yourself. So maybe that's what happened here, or that's your definition of the 10 of Cups in your mind. But because it's not conducive, it's not balanced in a way that it should be, it always leaves you feeling like you fucked up, for lack of a better term. I don't know how else to put that. Or you messed up. I'll say that, because that's more censored. But I already said it. So, but anyway, going back to this, I feel like what's coming next for you in love is, as long as you are willing to do the work for it, is a renewal of some sort. You think of the Knight of Pentacles and how he doesn't mind taking his time and doing things. He doesn't mind doing the more boring things, the more mundane things. He's not really here for the excitement, because he know it'll come. Because he's a knight. Like, you're going to go to battle. You're going to meet friends and find friends along the way, and create bonds and brotherhood. I mean, you can be a woman, so sisterhood, whatever. But I'm just thinking of him in terms of him being a knight. And you know, you'll find that along the way regardless. It's just, I don't mind going the slower way. I don't mind taking my time to build myself back up, because this star, you have every ounce of power within you to create it in an upright way. You have the power and the means to pour back into yourself, even if you start off in small increments. Talking to yourself, buying yourself the flowers, things of that nature. Just telling yourself you're beautiful and not waiting for someone else to do it. Taking yourself out to eat. Buying yourself that gift. Loving on yourself. You know, just enjoying yourself on a more solo level. Like I said, you could be in a relationship, but I feel like for most of you, you're single and you're just trying to find your way. But if you are in a relationship, you are not feeling your best in it. And what's coming is you slowing down and realizing, okay, my 10 of Cups that I want, like, I want this emotional fulfillment. I want it all. I want the family. I want the husband. I want the wife. I want the home. I want the career. I want it all. And I'm not afraid to look at it. I'm not afraid to piece it back together in a way that is more fitting for me and my lifestyle, in the way, like, the more healthy way. I'll say that. Not even your lifestyle, because it seems like the lifestyle that you're currently in, or that you're managing for yourself, is not the healthiest. It's not, and I mean that on a spiritual level. Like, I mean that on an emotional level. Like, you're not even considering your emotions as much as you should. You're putting yourself on a back burner. You're throwing yourself to the wayside. And even if, like, for some of you, if you have children, like, you're putting your children before you in every aspect of life. You're only playing that mother role, or you're only playing that father role. You're not playing that me role, you know? And without you, there's nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, I just think of people, and I'm not saying don't consider your children. I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying do not consider them, do not make them a priority in your life. But what I'm saying is that you have to be a priority as well. You have to find a way to input yourself and plug yourself into that equation as well. So I'm hoping that this makes sense for you. Maybe once I get into the oracle messages, it should, you know, I just saw 9/11 on the clock when I said that. So 911. So for some of you, this is, I don't want to say it like in a strange way, but it could be like an emergency situation to where it's like, okay, this is make or break type thing. Not life or death per se, but I mean, if you look at it from a spiritual sense, it's like spiritual life or spiritual death, like a renewal or a rebirth. Like I said, it's like a reprocessing of your emotions and going the slower route. Like, say for example, somebody is constantly eating fast food every day, fast food, and then they get to a point where they're like, oh shit, my arteries is clogged as fuck, I'm in the damn ER now. And then the doctor tells you, like, listen, you got to change up your entire habits, your entire lifestyle, the way you eat, the way you think about food in general. Because sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes, like, emergency situations can happen that cause you to, like, say, okay, this way is out. Like, this is dead. Like, I can no longer go on in this way. Just think of the death card and the transitioning of it, of life in itself, and like going into the next stage or phase of it. And I feel like that's what's coming next for you, as long as you're willing to put into the work for it, because it is Pentacles energy. So it will be slower energy than fiery wands, or even emotional like cups, like an overwhelming sense of like that. Not to say emotions aren't at play here, because I definitely feel like they do. I feel like that plays an important part in this, as with any situation regarding love. But I feel like the main thing coming next to you is a renewal for yourself. And in turn with that, you know, you'll be able to cultivate and have these relationships that are that actually benefit you, as opposed to depleting you, or you know, taken away from you in that sense. So that's just what I'm picking up from your tarot. I'm going to get into your oracle now, just to see what else comes out for you all. So your first card says communication is key, new moon in Gemini. Your second card says a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer. You got 6th house, sustainability. You got Taurus, cultivate. And then you got partnership. Allow healthful, supportive partnerships into your personal life and career, and both parties benefit as a result. You are receiving help from heaven and from a person who brings needed skills and resources. And then you got 3 lessons. It says, self-esteem, I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. Acceptance, I am learning to accept things that I cannot change. And then denial, I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. Okay, so before I read out of the book, as with the other piles, I am going to just pick up on what I can from these oracle cards first. Firstly, this self-esteem card coming out for your lesson, with this star in reverse, that just speaks to me in many ways. It says, I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. This is about finding what is good about yourself. And there are plenty of things, I'm sure. You know, like I said, this seems like a very giver, like the givers of the piles. I mean, I'm not saying the other ones weren't, but this just seems like you give too much. And while that, not too much, you give too much to the wrong things, I'll say that. But giving in itself is such an amazing quality, because we have so many stingy, stubborn, greedy people out here. To be able to give is a gift. It's just being discerning in who you give that to, when you give it, and how you give it. So definitely you want to keep that. Don't let that harden you because you've made a couple mistakes in the way in which you've operated with your gift of giving. However, that in itself is a beautiful quality to have. And not only that, but just operating from a sense of like, I want you to win. Like, because that's typically, you know, where it stems from. You know, there are people who give out of like I did this for you type energy. I don't feel like that's you though. And that's a whole different breed of a person. You're not that. So take time to actually analyze yourself and look at the goodness in you. And don't allow anything or any experiences that you've been through to taint that or to sway your opinion about yourself. Because at your core, you are amazing. You are amazing. And you should be able to look at your Ten of Cups energy and what it is that you want for yourself and be proud of it. It should not be painful for you to want to look at that. And I almost want to cry, because like I understand it. Like I've been there before, and I didn't want to cry for the other pals, and I'm hoping I don't start crying now, but I get it. And I've been there in relationships in the past where you just give and give and give because you feel like, not only because you feel like obligated to, because it's just who you are. It's just, you just want to be accepted. You want someone to see you and you want to feel valued, but you are valued even without giving. You are valuable without giving, because like that's why you're here. God created you with a purpose and with love in mind. You know what I mean? Like he didn't just make you for no reason. Like you're not here breathing just because. And that's something I need you to really just understand. So even if you have to take the time to kind of write down some things or say it in the mirror, that's the most difficult thing, to be able to say it in the mirror. A lot of people can't look at themselves in the mirror. So you want to practice with that. And just start off small. I am beautiful. I am giving. I am nurturing. I am loved, because you are loved. You are so loved. But with this acceptance and denial card, they're very contrasting. Because when you accept something, you're not denying it. But when you're denying something, you're not accepting it. So this is like, and denial comes from a place of fear. It comes from a place of not wanting to see it. And again, going back in here with this Two of Wands, it's facing all of the, I don't know why the word ugliness came to me. You're not ugly at all, but it's facing all the ugliness. You're focusing on what you feel like is ugly in you. You're focusing on what you feel like isn't worthy enough. And you're not being accepting of all the parts that are worthy. Like I said, you have every power, every right, you can turn this star upright. It's just a matter of changing your mindset and changing who it is that you give to, who it is that you pour into. The first person being yourself. Like, and even with this acceptance, I'm learning to accept things that I can't change. Sure, there will be parts of us that we're like, oh, well, you know what? If I could have it my way, it would be this way, but it's not. So, and if it is changeable and you know you're able to do that, then, and you have the means to, then by all means, go ahead. But do it from a place of love. Don't do it from a place of thinking it's ugly, if that makes sense. So like, for example, like we can't all freaking, like for me, like I'm not even trying to be funny, but I used to get picked on for my forehead when I was little, and I couldn't stand my forehead. And I'm not making this about me. I'm just using that as an example so you can understand what it is that I'm saying. So I can't change my forehead. Sure, it's forehead surgery out there, but I'm not doing that shit. So I learned to accept my damn forehead, and guess what? Now I wear it out proudly. Why? I got picked on it for it so much when I was younger that like you can't hurt me with that shit now. First of all, I done grew into it a little bit, so. So there's that for one, and for two, guess what? Somebody gonna like it, and guess what? And do. I love it, and I know I got a man who do too. So at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like you gotta look at it from a different place. Sometimes it's people that hurt you, that say shit to hurt you just because they're fucking hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it's about just kind of weeding out all the bullshit. But we're going to get into that in a minute. Because I said weeding out. And as soon as I said that, I saw cultivate down here with Taurus energy. This is about weeding out the bullshit. So let me get into what else was it I was saying? What else was it I was saying? Oh, communication is key. I'm going to go back into these in a minute. But communication is key with this new moon in Gemini card. The way you talk to yourself. The way you allow other people to talk to you, the way that you, first, let me go back to that. The way you talk to yourself sets the tone for the way other people talk to you too. You know what I mean? If you allow yourself to call yourself names and shit like that, I'm not saying you might be the type to just let people just walk all over you, but they're more prone to do it if they see you doing it to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? So if you have that respect, that self-respect and self-love for yourself, people have no choice but to follow suit. Like, I mean, especially if you're coming from a place like it's not a place of indecency. It's not a place of like I'm better than you. It's like, no, I just want some respect, and I deserve the respect. I deserve that. At the very least, you can respect me. I'm not asking for much when I ask for that. And if you can't, if it is too much for you, then you can go. You know, it's about setting boundaries and with yourself and other people. It starts with you though, like I was saying. But then you have this partnership card here, and it says allowing, you know, helpful, supportive partnerships into your life. Again, going back to who and what it is that we pour into is, you need some analyzing, some reanalyzing. And it's not about like cutting people off. Maybe you just need to set boundaries. And boundaries, people like to sleep on boundaries and say, oh, well, if I set this boundary, they're going to think I don't like them. No, actually setting a boundary lets a person know, hey, I still want you in my life, but this is some things I will and will not tolerate. And just as you have things that you will and will not tolerate, this is my thing. But I still want you here. Now, if I was to cut you off, that's a different story. That means I don't want no parts of you. You know what I'm saying? So looking at it and rewiring your brain and training your mind to understand that boundaries are not a bad thing. And they will actually save relationships and yourself. So, I want to say that's all I'm picking up. Oh, wait, you know what? That wasn't. So when I pulled these two cards, I saw blue automatically. And I'm thinking about the throat chakra and how maybe yours needs work. Maybe again, communication is key. Speaking up for yourself and not holding back. And maybe speaking up for yourself when it comes to yourself too. Telling yourself or that negative voice in your mind to shut up. I was about to curse, but just to shut up. You know, just be quiet. I understand you want me to be comfortable. I understand. This is the place that I was in. I was in this down, defeated place, and you want me to stay here. But it's a new day, and it's a new me, and it's a new way that I'm operating in. And so with that, you know, just kind of rebuilding your lifestyle in a way that fits your 10 of cups. Because that's what you're aiming for. You want to turn around and look at that. You want to be able to face that again and it not be so painful. But the one thing I will say is this. With that 10 of swords, excuse me, I'm stretching, sorry. With that 10 of swords energy right next to this Knight of Pentacles, I do feel like there is an extreme release that's going to have to happen here. You think of the 10 and how it's the end of the thing before you become a page of swords, and then, you know, whatever the case may be. But it's about the end of something and how you kind of have to have that final release before you get fed the fuck up and you're like, yo, something's got to give. And then that's when you move into this Knight of Pentacles energy. Because right now I'm feeling like it's pointing more towards you thinking this is too painful to look at. Like I don't even want to pay attention to it. I'm so focused on feeling my worst self that I don't even want to even operate, and like I don't even want to think about it. And I just saw 22 when I said that. I don't even want to operate in this energy because I'm not good enough to. I don't even want to think about it. That kind of thing. But I think this is leaning more towards you also being fed up. Like you're like, okay, something's got to give. I cannot keep thinking like this. I cannot keep allowing this to be my end game. Like this is not the end for me. And then you're like taking a slower approach. Like, oh, okay, I can get back up. I can pull these swords out of me. I can get back up, get back on my horse, and keep it moving. I don't have to be like the other knights. I don't have to operate with my emotions or be King of Swords where I'm acting first, thinking later. I don't have to be King of Wands. I mean, not King, Knight of Swords. And then Knight of Wands where I'm just being hasty with my decisions. I can slow down because I need to slow down because I'm rebuilding right now. And when you're rebuilding something, you have to do it layer by layer by layer by layer by layer. It's not a quick overnight thing. And you're coming into the acceptance of that you can rebuild in a way that suits you and that fits you. So now I'm going to read out of the Oracle books. So I got them here. We're going to start out with your Moonology. You got communication is key. New moon in Gemini, and that is on page 46. So it says a successful relationship usually comes down to one thing, communication. And the new moon in Gemini card is all about the start of a new cycle for communicating with the person at the center of your question. Talking things through is the answer to whatever it is you're asking about. If you can't talk to that person, you can journal about it yourself. Emails, text messages, and all other forms of communication will also help you now. If the issue you're asking about concerns a sibling or neighbor, there's a new start coming, a time to wipe the slate clean and start over. This card could also suggest you've been too frivolous lately and need to get grounded again. But most importantly, drawing this card emphasizes the need to communicate. So like I said, whether you're in a relationship or not, if this is the way you're feeling in a relationship and you have not vocalized it, you need to say something. Because it's only going to go downhill if you don't. It's only going to go downhill if you don't. You have to say something. You have to be vocal. You have to be real with yourself. But first you have to be real. Real with them. But first you have to be real with yourself about the fact that you're feeling this way. You have to find a way that is healthy and mature to get your point across. You don't want to come off like an asshole, obviously. But, you want to find a way that you're able to stand up for yourself. Get your point across. Even if your voice, I just posted this, even if your voice shakes. I had an affirmation where I was talking about, I think it was courage. Just having the courage to face the fear, even if your voice shakes, even if you shaking when you do it. Just being able to get it out and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. It doesn't feel right for me. It's not healthy for me. And we have to find a way around it. And if they can't respect it, then hello. You want to allow healthful, supportive partnerships in. But if you have a partner that loves and appreciates you, and they wouldn't want you feeling like that. And if they can't read your mind, obviously. So it's like you gotta kind of sometimes say something. You gotta be open and honest about it. You can't deny that, and just being real. So then you have a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer, and this one is on page 74, and it says things are likely to get very heated as full moon in Cancer is a super emotional sign. So there could be something of an explosion of feelings around now or surrounding your question. It's important to be sensitive to other people when you pull this card. There are some very fine sensibilities around, so tread carefully as you move towards your goals or dreams. This card indicates an especially feminine time. It also heralds the time to deal with any family issues coming up. Nothing to worry about. It signals a challenge is now coming to an end. This card also suggests both that a domestic matter or private issue will soon come to a head and that it's a great time to move house. The answer to your question lies in being a kind leader. This is the time for you to step up and agree to overcome your insecurities. Yeah, so this kind of piggybacks off the communication is key card, where it's talking about how you kind of want to speak up and overcome any fears, any doubts, any anxieties, any insecurities that may be in your way right now. But it does say it's an emotional time. So just being able to regulate those as well as getting your point across. That's why I was saying finding a mature, healthy way to say it, obviously. Because you want to, especially if you're in a relationship, your partner doesn't know you're feeling this way. You don't want to just go in on attack mode. You want to go in more so like, hey, this is just something I want to sit down and talk to you about. But it does indicate that, things will be, a personal issue reaches resolution kind of in itself says what it is. Like you're going to come to some sort of resolution on it. It's just a matter of time and a matter of actually speaking up and saying something and having the self-esteem that is needed in order to carry it through, like see it through. So next two cards, we have 6th house sustainability and then Taurus cultivate. So 44. That one is on page 104, and it says, I'm only going to read the action. So it says, work smarter, not harder. The opposite of a dysfunctional situation is a sustainable ecosystem. Make your life sustainable. Look at the time, resources, love, care, and sweat you put into your life and assess whether you are putting as much in as you get out and whether you're receiving as much as you put in. The input and output have to match. Maybe not every day, but certainly every week or month, or you cannot sustain the long haul. The 6th house concerns your daily work, not necessarily your vocation or long-forward career. If you're waiting tables to support your acting career, the 6th house speaks both of your day job and what you do toward that dream. Put in some time and effort on your dreams to bring these two paths closer to being one and the same. Assess your work environment. Besides the money and professional trajectory, most jobs offer an opportunity to bump souls with others, a stage to work through karma and round out our personalities. Camaraderie can help to create a healthy work environment. Attitude makes all the difference. Watch where you put your mind. Nervousness can turn into chronic anxiety, which taxes the health. Give your mental hamsters something worthy to work on and keep them from merely spinning. Look at your daily habits and invest in good self-care. Make healthy food delicious and healthy activity enjoyable. Play with the dog or talk to the the wild birds. Time with animals can restore the spirit as well as be great exercise. So this kind of goes back into what I was saying about this Knight of Pentacles energy. The first sentence says work smarter, not harder. This isn't about moving at a fast pace or trying to go, or grind it out and get to this 10 of Cups. This is about taking your time. It's about assessing what's what. And it says it needs to, the input and output have to match. And it clearly does not over here. The output is way bigger than the input. Like the things you're putting out is way more than you're getting back. And in some way that has to be balanced out. But it's just a matter of, like I said, tweaking and figuring out what's what. And I know that this description was more so leaning towards work and stuff, but relationships are work. Good relationships take work. You know what I mean? It is a form of working. It's not necessarily like the grind or anything, but it is a form of work. You got to work to maintain it, work to cultivate it, work to grow it, things of that nature, get it to the next level, whatever. But you, again, like it says, watch where you put your mind, because nervousness turns into chronic anxiety. This is all the anxiety right here, because you're so fearful of looking at it. This is anxiety. Like it's, and I'm not diagnosing you in any way. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it kind of leans into that anxious nervousness feeling of like, what's going on? What am I doing? You know what I mean? Like that kind of energy. I'm not saying you have anxiety at all. I would never diagnose. I don't do that. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying, you just want to make sure that you are like, and even with the whole exercise and porn, you want to get to that. If you haven't already been in that, if you've been in that, get back to it. Exercise, go outside, take walks, get some sunlight, talk to your friends, play with the dogs, play with the cats, play with the hamsters, whatever you got. It don't matter. But make sure that, like it says, the hamster wheel in your mind is spinning and you're not just aimlessly running towards nothing. Like, and if you think of a hamster, like just the tracks on the wheel, make sure that whatever is running in your mind are something of substance, of that can sustain the long haul. Because like I said, with this Knight of Pentacles, this is all about building that strength and that endurance, and may take baby steps. It may take a longer way to go, but it's going to get you a lot further too. It's going to get you a lot further. And worrying at the end of the day does not further your goals. Worrying about it is not going to further your goals. You actually have to put in the work to do it. So then lastly, you have Taurus, cultivate. And that one's on page 20. And it says, work with the metaphor of gardening. Plow the ground, plant the seeds, nurture the crops with water and fertilizer, and protect those crops from predation. Grow roots rather than travel. Investigate what concrete form your project should take and the next practical steps in that direction. Appreciate the senses. Notice what you see, smell, hear, feel, and taste. Use the senses to be in the present moment and let time flow by. Cuddle, feed. In a relationship, listen to both the signals of body chemistry and the practicalities of your life to give it a fertile field. Cultivate your garden. Like a slowly growing flower basking in the sun, find contentment in the moment. Explore the roots of the situation. Ask what feeds this idea or what feeds your soul. If you're feeling pushed about, sit, hold still, grow roots, and let the storm pass over you. Don't hurry. Play the long game as you plant and tend your crops. Don't hurry is Knight of Pentacles. It's not no rush job. Like this, yeah, you don't want to face whatever the Ten of Cups is right now. But it may feel overwhelming to even think about because you're here right now. But guess what? baby steps, practicality, sustainability, slow going. Slow and steady wins the race, not fast pace, not rush jobs. You know, rush jobs lead to rush ends. You know what I mean? And I was telling Palo 2, I think it was. Yeah, it had to be Palo 2 because Palo 1 wasn't like that. But I was telling them, like, what was I saying? Something about, oh yeah, like people get, like if you're in a relationship or not, it doesn't matter. People get married within months, sometimes weeks, sometimes days, and then they're divorced within that same amount of time. Like it's not, just because somebody did the thing doesn't mean that they're ahead of you, because you don't know what their timeline looks like. So while it may look promising in the beginning, and this is why I say don't compare yourself to other people, and this energy will do that to you. You know, circumstances in life will do that to you. And if you're thinking of age, like I think you were the pile, I said something about age, like you thinking you should have had something done at a certain time. And it's like, no, there's people in their 60s who still don't got it together. There's people in their 80s who still don't got it together. There's people in their 20s. You know what I mean? It's all different. And it's a whole melting pot of not having it together. We're human. We're all still figuring it out. Nobody's got it all together. Like we're just trying here, making it work. So yeah, you got this though. You are, what's coming next for you is a slower pace, as long as you are willing to go that route. And I think that it will be a lot more promising for you in your future as well. So Pile 3, if this resonated with you, please like this video. Liking it helps out a whole lot. It works wonders for me, lets me know that it resonates with you. You can comment down below if you feel called to as well. You can subscribe too, because there'll be plenty more where this came from. If you want to book a personal session with me, I am open for both intuitive tarot sessions as well as distance Reiki sessions over on my website. You can click the link down below in the description box, or you can just head over to my website, www.theangelicmuse.com, and I will be more than happy to assist you in that area. But if this is where I leave you, then I thank you so much for being here, and I pray you enjoy the rest of your day or your night.